Hi again. My testimony, the beginning. I was born in 1958. I have one older sister. She's actually a half-sister, but that's a story for another time. I had 2 younger brothers and 3 younger sisters. The first brother, who was born just 14 months after me, drowned at 6 years old. In hindsight and as adults, we came to the conclusion that it was suicide. That's again another story. And this happened only 6 months after my maternal grandfather died suddenly of a massive heart attack. And my mother was brokenhearted, just brokenhearted. And she had a 3-month-old baby at that time. And a total of, well, 7 kids minus 1. I believe it's an early life blessing from our Father that she didn't go to bed sick and just not get up again. And this is exactly what my mother said in those words about her own mother, who'd evidently done just that in tragic circumstances that accompanied, weren't associated with, but accompanied the birth of her youngest child, my mother's baby sister. My mother was 77 and had just buried her eldest sister, where in the eulogy it came up that at 16 she had to quit high school and come back home. She was living away from home. There was no high school in their little town. And take care of the younger children and the newborn baby and her mother, who'd gone to bed with a nervous breakdown. Well, that created a big stir in my family, and so in an uncharacteristically candid moment with one of my younger sisters who was living with her at that time, she said those words. I guess it was in response to a video about a commercial on television about depression medication. And what she said is, I wonder if there'd been medication when I was younger for my mother, if things might have been different. And so my sister ventured to ask her what that had been about. And without going into the details, which the eldest sister had before her death, she said, I don't know. I was very young. She just went to bed and didn't get up. She came out of it eventually, and I knew her until the age of 7, when my grandfather died, and then my brothers 6 months later, as a very loving, jovial woman. But evidently she had some woundedness. Don't we all? Well, my mother's own woundedness is tied in with this coincidental tragedy, and I don't believe that there's such a thing as coincidence, and this is more detail of the story than what I want to get into now, and maybe a video for another time. But it was all tied around the tragedy that overcame my grandmother and caused her nervous breakdown, and likely ties into how my mother wound up with the broken man who was to become my father and my older sister's stepfather, although my parents married when my mother was expecting her. I sometimes wonder at using the term father in describing him, but I don't know what other term we use here on earth, but the scriptures tell us, call no man father. But now that I know the true Father, I don't think there is a true Father on earth. Maybe if they're godly. I never knew one. And this brings me to the crux of my childhood. I will preface my next statement by saying that the Lord has been patient and merciful in leading me to a new understanding of forgiveness, compassion, and even love in the last 20 months since my born-again moment. But for years, I described my dad as a drug-seeking, alcoholic, sociopathic, incestuous pedophile. And I knew that I would find no peace until he was dead. I had not seen him in 30 years when he died, February 26th of this year. Very much alone. I had learned not to hate him and thought I'd forgiven him. I was truly shocked by my reaction when I heard the news of his death. I now know true forgiveness. The Lord has taken me on an incredible journey in the last 6 months, and it was only 2 weeks ago, and I'll share that in a later testimony video, started forgiving myself. And that's the Alpha, the beginning of my path, my testimony with the Lord. And I hope you'll tune in for part 2. If not, I understand. I can be wordy. Thank you.